Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Culture Man, Kenny Burns, and welcome to TKBS, where we inform, impact, and inspire. And we also stay hydrated, because ain't no way I can give you all this energy and not be hydrated while doing it. Go grab your Smart Water in that sleek bottle right now and put it next to your kale popcorn and get ready for the best show on earth, the Kenny Burns Show. Life's full of choices. Smart Water is a simple. Visit drinksmartwater.com and learn more. The dream is real. Yeah! It's the authentic voice of culture. Ladies and gentlemen, we are TKBS. I am your lifestyle specialist, Kenny Burns, baby, and I'm so excited. Not only are we in the new studio, but this is episode 100. Who are we? A round of applause for the nation. Who are we, ladies?
I am Kendra Taylor, a.k.a. Coco.
Hey, y'all, it's Dr. Sugar. Y'all love me. I love y'all.
Yeah, we love you in real life. And hold on, Kendra with the porn voice, because she got a new microphone. Can we just, I'm so elated, one, to see y'all in this new format that we have for TKBS, but y'all sound amazing. And I just want to give them their flowers, y'all. They were doing this whole time with a slight delay. So I'll be talking, and they be getting a slight delay because we was on this other system, child, and we ain't gonna call it. Matter of fact, get my refund ASAP because they charged me for a full year. I want my money back. But y'all sound and look amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 100. Who are we? And how was your weekend, ladies? Are you ready? Talk to me. I need to hear how your weekend was, what you did. I know Kendra was in Chicago having sex. How was your weekend, Dr. Sugar?
Oh, my goodness. Ain't nothing changed, y'all. We just got Mike. He's still unhinged, okay? Yeah. Everybody, Kenny Burns, the Kenny Burns Show, the Kenny Burns in the Kenny Burns Show is unhinged. I had a great weekend. I thought I was going to go on D&D. I let my people know, like, hey, I'm probably going to go on D&D. But I got rejuvenated and had a great weekend. I still just kind of kicked it at home and then did a little stuff. But I really had a great weekend, and I feel rejuvenated for the week.
Yeah, I saw you in that gym, and I saw your videos you're making. You got to keep those videos going because I love the experiences. Coco, I know you was Coco on the loose in Chicago with some Giordano's pizza and some Garrett's popcorn. Tell us about your weekend, baby.
It was nice. I stayed at the London House, which is a nice location downtown. The only thing is outside my window, I had a good view of the Riverside, but I also seen Trump. I wanted to go back and get a refund. I'm like, y'all need to pay me for looking out my window, looking at this bull. Okay? Yeah. But it was nice rooftop. We had dinner at the St. Regis Tridita. Oh my God, you have to try it. Kenny, next time you're there, anybody, y'all have to try it. It was so good. But I had an amazing weekend, laid back, and then I came home.
Well, happy anniversary to you and Fred. I know the dream is real. And go on, ask me how my weekend was. Go on.
Oh, boy. How was your weekend, Kenny Burns?
Oh, I am so glad you asked, Sugar. Fight Night, the $1 Million Heist, is out right now on Peacock. It's #1. It has a 93% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. And child, first of all, round of applause for that. Amen.
Pew, pew, pew,
Amen. Pew. Yeah, pew, all the things. But the premiere, y'all, was out of this world. I mean, not only the 70s fashion, the entire cast was there, minus my brother Melvin Gregg. He has some other obligations that he couldn't get away from. But I just want to tell y'all, we work hard in life. We work hard in life to get our flowers, to get our due, and hopefully make some money. You know what I'm talking about? We want to exercise our creativity. And the older you get, I always say this, big shout out to Claude Austin, may he rest in peace. He said, Kenny, do one thing great, and then all other things will come. And sure enough, it's coming. And overload pause. That sounded so crazy. But it's happening in the biggest way possible. And y'all, I was at this premiere and I'm looking at all the superheroes that participated in the movie. I'm looking at the fashion, but more important, I'm looking at it on the screen, y'all. And I'm just like, oh my God, I was so emotional so many different times. But one of the biggest highlights, y'all, was Will Packer giving me my flowers. And this is what he had to say.
You remember when this all started? I told you that I got a call.
Yes.
There was a gentleman out of Atlanta. He called me, he said, I got a story. I had never heard this story before. He told me this story. That was about 10 years ago. That is how long this project has been in the making. Right now, my brother, I want to give you your flowers, Kenny Burns.
Yeah, and I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm talking about straight, like, I had to like hold everything in, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody was in there. Sam Jackson, Don Cheadle, Terrence Howard, Taraji P. Henson, Kevin Hart, the entire Young Guns that held the show down. And, you know, he didn't have to do that. You know, I got paid my money, I got my co-executive producer credit, and, you know, he could have just had this moment about him. And I was looking for Kevin Hart, actually, to just say something more than, yeah, KB, I did do your engagement party to Nico. I've been there for you throughout your life. I used to book you for $2,500. I wanted a little bit more from you, Kevin. So if you want to call me or send me a watch, I know you're hella rich. But it was an amazing experience. And I truly appreciate everybody, man. I'm talking about Tony, a black woman who did the set design, Mona, Crystal, everybody who did hair. That hair, y'all seen it? The hair looked real. I didn't want to take my fro off. So let me move on, because this is a defining episode. Not only just being our 100th episode, but we are also defining who we are as a culture continuously. We are in a fierce, political year. When I came back from Fight Night, I was asked to do Fight for Our Democracy. It was a town hall put together by Kasim Reed, our 59th mayor here in Atlanta. Also, Detavio Samuels, who runs Revolt Television, a brilliant mind. My darling sister, Arian Simone, who is the co-founder for the Fearless Fund. She's actually, y'all talking about Project 25, we're gonna get into that a little bit later, but she's actually in the midst of being prosecuted for funding, disproportionate women for, in their businesses. I mean, black and brown women, because, this person who's suing them is saying that it's racist to only fund them, right? So it's a whole thing going on. But anyway, we got an opportunity to kind of get surgically into, what we need to win this election in November. And I was, hearing these amazing superheroes speak, and I got an opportunity to address black men. And I said this, and I want you to hear this clip. What do we need to do to effectively, galvanize our young black men? Because we're seeing all of this, it's damn near hate speech.
And the one person that really bothered me, they said, well, what has she done for us to say her name correctly? And for me, I said, nigga, do you love your mama? I said, yeah. Because you can't say a woman's name out of respect. We're not talking about just a person that was a lawyer.
Attorney General, Senator, Vice President of the United States, went to HU. Like, what are we talking about?
Who are we as men if we're not protecting our women? That's a serious, actionable question. Who are we? Who are you defending? Who are you protecting? It's not your community. What are we doing? Who's the big homie? Are you too good, black men? Are we too good? Because I'm getting to the point where we are going to be the reason if Donald Trump is in office. Black men, not black women, y'all always mobilize. But us black men, we have some real issues.
Yeah, so I was very passionately speaking about that. The crowd got involved. But I want y'all to get involved and tell me how that clip makes you feel.
It's a very important conversation to have. And when it's coming from a person that proceeds to have these conversations out of love, it's received in love. So it's not it doesn't come across as a lecture or I gotcha or any of that. So whenever you giving it with love like you do, KB, people receive it that way as well. And then they want to give it to somebody else. So I think that it was an important thing to start so that it can continue.
Yes, it continued throughout the evening. Coco, what you think, love?
I agree with what Dr. Sugar said. I also think that it's important that it's coming from another man, and so other men can step up to the plate and convey a great message as well, because we need that support just as well as men need our support. We need each other's support to carry on. So I think it was a great message.
Thank you, love. And I had an opportunity to talk to 19 Keys, right? 19 Keys is a brilliant young man with an amazing message. He is Muslim. And I often seek counsel from him. You know, yes, I'm the big homie. I'm 51, about to be 52. He's 32, but he's a very intelligent young man. So when I had posted the clip, he had made a comment on the clip, you know, in a very intelligent comment, talking about the disproportionate, you know, world we live in and why black men, you know, are the way they are, right? And, you know, I always like to wave the flag. Well, I'm that black man. I'm the convicted felon at 18. I'm the one who's raised in a single parent home. I'm the one who had, you know, that disproportionate systemic, you know what I'm saying? All the odds were against me. So I like to spar with him because the younger generation has a very different outlook on politics. They have a very different outlet on how they are approaching politics, how they are having conversations with elders. And when I was talking to him, very inspired by the conversation, but it was challenging too because, you know, I had mentioned the clip I posted about how to say Kamala's name and how much negative energy, damn near hate speech from black men towards her just on the way you should pronounce her name. And, you know, some of the comments were, why should I say her name correctly? She's done nothing for me. And then all the white people commenting were like, Kamala. I mean, super disrespectful, had nothing to do with politics. It was just straight disrespect. And the thing I asked Keys was like, I'm talking about the humanity in it and the disrespect in it, right? You don't have to agree with policy or have to agree with politics, but to have respect for someone, right, is the thing. And he said, well, Kenny, you show up for us. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, you show up for us. We talk to you. We know you. When you speak, it feels like one of us is speaking for us. And I was like, whoa, like it really threw me. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, well, you haven't heard her speak as vice president as much as the president because they get the majority of the speaking titles and roles. But here's what she did, right? So we talked about her going abroad and, you know, how she's been representing the country in other countries and this, that, and the third, right? And then it hit me right then and there. As much as I respect him and I seek his counsel and what the younger generation has to say, I'm older. I've lived more life. I've had a wealth of knowledge that he just does not have. And so when I look at Kamala Harris and know her from being a lawyer to an attorney general to a senator to now the vice president of the United States, with the little bit of time we have to make a decision on who's going to be our president, there's to me just no way I could even support the option, which is Donald Trump, right? And then he said, and I want to hear what you guys got to say, he said, well, look, I don't agree with any policy that Donald Trump has. I don't agree with anything he says as far as disrespect or the way he shows up as a bully. The only thing I see him as a formidable power in, you know, the spectrum. Now, he wasn't saying he liked him, he was going to vote for him, none of that. But if he was saying, if I had to look at these two, and I think he was speaking for young black men, if I had to look at these two entities, one I don't know, and one I've seen, you know, in action, so to speak, whether he gave you the stimulus checks or whether he gave you this economic freedom you think in your mind you have. But it was an interesting conversation. But how do you guys feel? Because I think the disconnect is with younger black men. And then there's the older black men that I think just don't like women, but that's a whole nother episode.
So I understand what you're saying. But even though that gentleman, I can't even call him a gentleman, even though Donald Trump is visible, the things that he stands for, the things that he says, that should be enough not to vote for him at all, because of the policy it's going to follow behind. The whole thing of how he's supporting police shooting and killing people without any kind of
recourse
recourse towards that is enough for me not to vote for him. Enough for him to stand up and disrespect a Black woman in other people's presence is enough for me not to vote for him. His ego is enough for me not to vote for him. His past term is enough for me not to vote for him. I would rather go with someone who's been fighting the fight for equality in regards when it comes to justice than someone who has 34 plus felonies. So when you say he's more visible, he's a visible disgust. So
yes.
what are you wanting?
Disgusting.
Yes.
He's appalling. He's so many words. And I love how we're all trying not to cuss just because we have this new platform and new visual, but the cussing is coming. But Dr. Sugar, how do you feel about it, baby?
Well, just from his perspective, just playing devil's advocate, that generation and younger, I think that the old saying that people say really applies. They don't care unless they know you care. Well, however the saying goes, y'all know what it is. Unless they really know that you care, they don't care nothing about what you got to say. That's like the students that I deal with on a daily basis. If I don't teach you and I haven't had a chance to build a relationship with you, correcting you in the hallway because your skirt is too short is going to either go, yes, ma'am, or who you talking to? So people have to know that you care. So I'm like, come here, sweetheart. Okay, remember what the rules are. And you have to remind them. And and that's applicable for people when you talk to them too. You literally did the same thing with him.
No question. And I feel him though. Like, I feel not being talked to. I feel like directly to. I feel that people are witnessing you raising an enormous amount of money, but where's the money going? How are we going to effectively, be a part of this system that you're creating? Because it's all capitalism. And that's what I wanted to go to next. We are in a capitalistic society. And the things that 19 Keys was mentioning had everything to do with how do I prosper from it? And that's a great way to look at it. The only issue I have with that from the Black male perspective is that we are our own worst enemy. It is not to hold on to the systemic things that have made us the way we are. Yes. Is that shit generational? Absolutely. Is it passed down in your blood? I believe so. Right? You see what you see, and you normally do what you see. If you learn better, hopefully you do better. But in our case, we seem to always go back to the bullshit. It's money. I was talking again to him about, it's cool to say that we were put in these positions, but when I look at my own journey, I am a blueprint and a testimony if you choose different. I chose different. I choose every day to stick and stay with my family. With all the distractions that are in this world, with all the things that come at me on a daily basis, I choose to show up for my wife in public. This woman, Lisa Nelson, I've known forever, came up to me at the end of the Fight for Democracy event. She was like, I love how you say your wife every time she not in the room. I'm not only saying it for respect for my wife, I'm saying it for all these hoes in here that's looking at me like a check. And want some of this, you know what I'm talking about? So they're serious though. Because at the end of the day, we do it to us Black men do it to ourselves. And guess who save us every time? Guess who come to our rescue every time? Black women, right? And but that's the gag. We gotta do it for ourselves. We gotta do it for ourselves because every time money come into play at any level of business, we shunning somebody. We disrespecting somebody. We're leaving people behind. You know what I'm saying? Big shout out to Ant-Man. Anthony Edwards was just in Atlanta. Him and Kenny grew up together. Ant-Man became the $300 million man. He ain't really seen him a lot lately. We went up there, remember we went up there to check out the intern opportunities for my nephew Kyle's third event. They reconnected. And first call he made was Kenny because he need that love, that genuine love that people, you gotta imagine, he's a $300 million man. Everybody named mama is trying to be his friend. You know what I'm saying? He needs some genuine love. So I think that, we as Black men need to stop doing the things we're doing to ourselves and to our community. We need to take responsibility for our own actions because we're the ones pulling the triggers. All you young guns out there playing Fortnite in your neighborhood, killing innocent people all over things Probably because you ain't got nobody to tell you no different, and I get it. But where are you going with this type of mentality and these actions? Where are you going to end up? And it's not enough to hear celebrities now denounce this type of energy, saying that they feel like they were forced to make these type of songs. But we do it. We gotta write it. We gotta produce it. We gotta get on this microphone and perform it. We are in control of what comes out of our mouths. We are in control of what we put out into the universe. And I think it's time that we take a stand on how we show up. Speaking of Fortnite, ladies and gentlemen, I know we've all heard about the gun violence that's been going on. It's a thing that has been repeatedly going on in the hood. Winder, Georgia, last week, 4 people were killed. A 14-year-old boy was arrested along with the father, who they found out had already been talked to by the FBI, right? He was on a video game playing something, was saying some crazy shit, and they came to see him. He was talking so crazy. But then in Maryland, another 16-year-old boy who police said had either been a victim, witness, or a suspect in multiple shootings. And the question I have for y'all is, why do we continuously let these people off the hook? It seems like every time that we see an egregious action like this, these people have been warned about these people. There have been FBI, police, something going on where these people have been put on notice and put on the board in the back room. So how do y'all feel about that? Because I think we're showing who we are by not detaining these people and putting them in places to keep them from hurting people.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the culture man, Kenny Burns. You know I'm talking about the dreamers, motherfucker. I'm talking fast. I gotta get all these points out in 30 seconds. You have to do me a favor. You have to go to your favorite platform where you listen to the Kenny Burns Show, aka TKBS, and I need you to download the episodes. We cannot be number 1 if you don't download. Number 2, I need you to write a comment. I don't know why the hell I have a 4.8 on Spotify and I have 5 stars on Apple. Let's make it even. I love you in real life. Stay tuned. We have more TKBS on the way. Peace.
The dream is real.
With the $5 meal deal at McDonald's, 5 hits different. 5 gets you a McDouble or a McChicken and a small fry and a small drink and a 4-piece McNuggets. 5 gets you more at McDonald's. Prices and participation may vary for limited time only.
When you hear a good idea, it's natural to do a double take. That's what you might do when you hear Discover will automatically double the cash back you've earned on your credit card at the end of your first year with Cashback Match. Wait, what? Yep. Double the cash back is something so good you might do a triple take. It pays to Discover. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
You got 5 on it? With the $5 meal deal at McDonald's, you about to eat. Your choice of a tender, juicy McChicken or a hot, cheesy McDouble sandwich and a crispy 4-piece McNuggets and a small fries and a small drink for just $5.
Money.
Woo. 5 gets you more at McDonald's. Prices and participation may vary for limited time only.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the culture man, Kenny Burns, and you know when I'm working out or doing anything, my attention to detail is unmatched. From my reps to my outfits, everything is sleek and refreshing, just like my Smart Water. My Smart Water bottle fits everywhere and is one of my favorite accessories. In a world filled with overthinking, we're providing a refreshing change of pace, a moment of clarity with a simple choice of hydrating with Smart Water. Life's full of choices. Smart Water is a simple one. Visit drinksmartwater.com and learn more.
I want to know, when are we going to start being proactive instead of reactive? Because the way that they're handling these things is ridiculous. Such as the child down in Georgia. The mother had called and gave a warning to the counselor. Like, first of all, you call the police. Why did you let him go to school? Previously, when he made another threat, why did your husband go and purchase him an AR? That is crazy. And if you knew he was going to the school to do that, and the counselor had the call, instead of going to his math class, why didn't you go into lockdown? Why didn't you call the police so he can be talked to prior to going to class? And how the hell did he get into school with a huge gun like that? Something needs to be had and something needs to be done when it's that kind of threat, it needs to be taken seriously to a level of a terroristic attack, because it's happening too often, and there needs to be some action in place when those things happen.
Yeah, Dr. Sugar, come on. I know you got something for us. You in school right now.
Right.
Lord, let me tell you something. Whenever we have any type of threat, I am grateful that the people that I work with take it seriously. And unfortunately, there was a school shooting in Nashville last school year, and it was an outside threat. So sometimes it's things that are beyond your control as far as people getting into the building. But the situation that happened in Wilder could have definitely been handled differently. But unfortunately, we have situations where kids that are troubled, or however you want to categorize them, you don't take them seriously. You don't pay attention to them. You don't try to build relationships with them. And then you end up in situations like this where they actually go forward with the things that they're planning. So that's why I try to tell every student that I come in contact with, I don't care what you say. If it sounds like a threat, you're getting reported. I don't care if I know that you're joking. Like, if I know 100% that you're joking and it's still a threat, guess what? You getting reported, babe. You know why? Because it's not appropriate. And you have to take this seriously. And if you don't get any kind of repercussions now, you're going to turn into somebody who is either actually following up on the threat, or you're going to keep crying wolf. And then somebody's going to not take you seriously, and then you're going to die at the hands of somebody else who thinks that they are being threatened. So that's why I don't play those games. Don't play with me, and I'm not going to play with you.
I 100% agree. And this is for the MAGA Republicans, because they love their guns and they love to have control of women's bodies. And I just have something I want to say. If you don't believe in gun reform, you don't believe in pro-life. You are a walking contradiction. You are not a trustworthy individual, because what you say, you don't practice. What comes out of your mouth is purely for gain. Now, ladies and gentlemen, gun reform has to happen, or we're gonna have these crazies continuously committing these heinous crimes. We're not gonna be able to come back from kids being programmed in the way that they are, because like the fake assassination attempt, you know that man had a goddamn Doberman Pinscher bandage on his ear for a week, and then the next week that shit was gone. But the boy that they highlighted was one of those kids that was bullied his whole life, had access to guns, and he want to take people out because he is sad, frustrated, and actually being groomed to be that person. I do not buy for 1 minute that this is not part of a bigger plan. And I'm not gonna get into conspiracy theories, but this is part of a bigger plan. Because, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump is unhinged. Everything that they used to say in the back of the restaurant, in the back of the office, without us present, they are saying in our faces. And just the other day, they had the Ku Klux Klan man at the rally. That is like, fuck you, black and brown Asian people, fuck y'all. And we ain't going nowhere. I rode through my neighborhood, I see a poster board on a house. I'm talking about like a billboard of the dude with the security holding him with the fake blood coming down his face with the flag. Then I go down the street and it's 200 white people for Harrison Walls. Because the majority of human beings are on the right side of history. But I want to scare you, because we do have the biggest presidential debate coming up tonight. Every time we vote Democratic or Republican, the margin of victory is so small. And then people wonder why every cycle we want to talk about why it's so important to vote. Because if you took the time to vote, that small portion would not be. Now, in my opinion, white women could save the world, because white women know the egregious acts that their partners have made this entire existence of America. From the door, from the time the boat landed, right? They have been victims in the same right, not victims like black and brown people. I'm not saying that. But they have lived a life of suppression. They have lived a life of oppression, and they can make the difference. But the moral of this story is, ladies and gentlemen, we have this first debate. I personally think the main topic should be about gun reform. It's something that I haven't seen Kamala jump out there on. I'm praying she does. Because this, ladies and gentlemen, it's cool to be the big bad wolf in the neighborhood, not bad meaning bad, but bad meaning good.
Not bad meaning bad, but bad meaning good.
And I mean that like having the strongest army in the world, having the most force. I want to be part of that country. But when it comes to us, some people just don't need pistols. I don't think nobody needs a pistol other than law enforcement. That's just my personal opinion. I understand your right to bear arms, but what comes with that? Somebody died potentially. Somebody getting shot for no reason potentially. A baby picking up a gun. Just in Detroit, I think it was, a lady had a stolen gun in her house that the kid brought to school. A stolen gun, not even a gun, a registered gun, a stolen gun that a child brought to school. Didn't shoot nobody, nothing happened, but these are the possibilities. How do y'all feel about that? Because I think gun reform is the biggest topic this week.
I think gun reform is definitely a big topic, especially in the communities that are Black and brown, because a lot of people don't have access to guns legally. So there are no checks and balances on the people that have guns.
Right.
So if we have checks and balances on guns, I am not against people having guns. I grew up in a household that had guns that were secured. My dad hunted a lot growing up.
Right.
He still has guns. I'm not a big gun girly, but because I used to be a hothead, okay? I could probably have one now because I'm a calm person now, but I just don't necessarily feel that I want to have access because I don't want anything that's out of my control to happen with the gun. If something happens and it's not secured, things happen too often with guns accidentally that make me nervous. So I'm a little bit on the fence with guns, but I think it definitely needs to be some more regulations for sure. If they can put all of these regulations on women and what we can do with our bodies, the regulations on guns should definitely be heightened. You got to go how many hours, see how many doctors, even if you are in a situation where you have an ectopic pregnancy and you need something to save your life. Somebody that I used to work with went through that. She was waiting for hours, almost died because of the rules that don't allow abortions in Tennessee. So whenever we have all of those stipulations and you could go get a gun and have it within, however short amount of time, there's a problem there.
Yeah, and also too, how many guns are actually being bought? I mean, think about the reason, because we all feel like, I think the NRA is one of the biggest gangster, movements in the world. Because it's just, it don't make sense to me. I get it. Military, okay, cool. That's the majority of the money. It can't be civilians. Can it be civilians too? Like, is it a thing really like that you literally are selling that many guns to civilians? You're not. Your major contracts go to the governments. And that's why we always aid in another country with some military something, because we got stockpiles of this shit we buying and it's getting old sitting in the bunkers. So I'm amazed at how, guns are still a thing. Again, they're having Fortnite guns. They're not like back in 1992, when I first came to Atlanta, I saw a Mossberg pump for the first time. Now, mind you, this is when Uzis and fancier guns, which I'm telling the street side of my life, the Uzis and all, that's when all that shit started. But Atlanta, you can go to Kmart back in the day and get every version of the assault rifles. There were no AR-15s, there were none of that. Today, it's unbelievable the type of things that these kids have access to at 18. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is I think guns being sold to civilians are really the problem. Stop selling guns to civilians. You know what I'm saying? Kendra, what you got to say about the guns, baby?
As a licensed carrier, I don't have issue with gun because I want a form of protection. However, I do have an issue with guns that are made for military style. There's no reason for a normal person to walk around every day with a gun that can take out 10 people at one time.
Yeah.
That's the issue for me. And illegal purchases. Because when they have these gun conventions, you can go there and buy a gun that day. So the background checks are not taking place. Or people are going in purchasing guns for other people. And then also, I feel like there should be a limit to how many guns you should be able to possess. That's my take on it.
Facts. And I know the backdoor business in the gun world is crazy too, because convicted felons have guns. And where do they get them? It's so easy to get, these weapons. Donald Trump is literally, making news again by having a prerequisite that Kamala cannot have a step stool, box, or lift in the debate. What? And I just want to say, you are one goofy motherfucker, Donald Trump. It's amazing to me how optics are affecting your brain. You don't want to seem like she's your height in a fucking debate. For me, you have the littlest dick on the planet. You're not a grower. You are a fucking little dick fucking donkey with orange hair. And I can't any longer stand by people that support this man. It's a joke. He literally went to and said this loud. Even if you thinking this is something you handle back office. You know what I'm talking about? When I see these signs, y'all, I almost have a panic attack. When I see these signs, I literally, because I hear him saying he don't want no lifts or platforms for Kamala to stand on, and then I see the sign. How y'all feel about that? Because he got to have a little dick.
When people are insecure, they do things that are wild. They do things that just make no sense. And you can't make sense out of nonsensical people.
But that's a little dick action. That's an action that a little dick man makes. Seriously.
I.e. insecure. I.e. ain't never got what he really wanted. He had to take it. That's why he's got all of these felony charges against him. I.e. you don't allow people to live where they can actually live because you don't want them to. You are trying to create power. Even though people look at him and think, okay, he's a powerful person because he has access to this, and this. He had to create the power. He doesn't have power within. His power is because he is doing things that are illegal. His power is because he is intimidating people. His power is that he is getting people on his side so that they will all be like, oh yeah, support him. You don't really have power, young man. Okay, you really have nothing. And that is, the same thing as all of these people that ain't never had access to other things. And then they get access and then they go about things the wrong way. You still can't talk to me slick. You still whack.
You still whack. And they didn't get no pussy in high school. That's why you made all the decisions that you've made today. You're just an insecure son of a bitch. I'm sorry. I didn't mean all those curse words in one thing, but I did. Lastly, y'all, and I want y'all to give me y'all take on this. And this is how I truly feel about America and where we are as a country. Who are we if we don't participate in the very ideals and principles that this country was founded on? It's the only way to right the wrongs of the racists and classes that have flawed the system. And if you don't understand what I mean by that, I mean, at the end of the day, the ideals of the home of the free, the ideals of that you could have home ownership, land ownership, the ideals that you could show up and become an entrepreneur day one and pursue your dream to do so. If you believe in that credo, you should believe in America. But the problem is you don't want to participate in it. You live in America. You have to vote for local, state, and national elections. Your voice cannot be heard. Policy can't change. Nothing can happen without your participation. And if you don't like it, if you want a regime that's coming in and wants to be a dictatorship, you think you don't have rights, women, to your bodies now? Imagine if a dictator takes over. If you think men that you're gonna be out here saying what you want, oh, they can't say what they want in China. You say the wrong shit, they're gonna come up in your house. They're not gonna call you, invite you down to the precinct. They ain't gonna try to have no side, but they coming up in your shit. But yet you don't wanna participate in what makes this country what it is. And so when I listen to the rhetoric, when I hear the hate speech, it sends me into a tailspin because you actually don't believe the things that you are doing. You wanna have an opinion. You want to have some perspective when you don't have any perspective because you haven't done the research. See, perspective comes with learning about the topic of discussion. Perspective comes trying to understand someone else's opinion outside of your own. So when you come on these platforms, when you speak out, and mind you, some of you speak so loud and they ain't saying nothing, please be prepared with information. Because the one thing we're not going to do here at TKBS is give you non-facts. And then the other piece of that is we're going to give you perspective based on facts. So if you don't agree with us, you do not have to. But the one thing you're going to do is respect the information given. You do with it what you may. But I want to know how you guys feel on our way up out of here.
We can't be closed-minded. That's one thing. Just because someone has a different opinion than you do, that doesn't mean that they are wrong. That means that they are human and they are able to have that opinion. We really have to do our very best to accept people for who they are and respect them. Listen to them because you may learn something from somebody. Be sure to be clear in your communication so that they can learn something from you. Because the thing is, when you're nasty to folks, they shut down. When you show that you're not trustworthy, they shut down. When they see you treating other people wrong, they shut down. So whenever you out here not being a good human being, not being a good person, not being a good mother, a good auntie, a good sister, a good anything, then people will shut down. Because if you don't talk to your sister, then what? How you think I'm gonna be friends with you? Now boundaries, that's something different. But if you just talking about my family is just baby, you got some things you need to work on and they do too. So I encourage everybody to be human and be kind and listen to what folks have to say, whether they got something to add for you or not. Because you can't get something from everybody. It doesn't have to be transactional. And I'm out.
That's right. Come on. Hey, man, you had something to say.
Did.
Come on, Coco. Close us out with that knowledge you got in that big ass head of yours.
Really? But no, I agree with both of you guys. But there's one thing that I will have to say. Just because they're family and just because it's someone close to you, like you said, boundaries need to apply. I'm really big on my boundaries. I don't care who you are. If I feel like you're being disrespectful, yes, I will talk to you about it. I will give you a chance depending on where you are in the spectrum of my life. But other than that, I am not welcoming any negative energy, any naysayers, anything that's going to bring me down or dim my light to a certain point because I don't have to deal with it. I am going to remain in my peace and I'm going to keep my peace for my household, for my family, and for myself.
That's right. That's right. Round of applause. You know, I got some brilliant motherfuckers on my team. I don't know what y'all doing out here, but I do want to say this before I get up out of here because we're about to introduce a new segment of TKBS. But if you're not doing the work in your own homes, how you gonna do some work elsewhere? I want you to really let that sizzle in your spirit. Because you cannot be out here with all these opinions and all this information, but your home is in shambles. I'm talking about your home. I'm talking about where you reside with them people that's supposed to be your backbone, your loved ones, the one that's supposed to be adding value to this whole conversation we call life. Ladies and gentlemen, lock in at home so that you can permeate in the world. All right, Kendra, come on. You know, we ain't got no delay now. We gonna do this together or we gonna go to hell. Come on.
I'm not going to hell.
1, 2, 3. The
dream is real.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we get out of here, we have a new segment called As the World Turns with Kenny Burns. And I wanted to do this segment because at the end of the day, it's some weird shit going on in the world. Now, my lovely co-host, Kendra Taylor Burns, has been watching the YSL trial. And this YSL trial has given us some amazing outtakes from the stand. Now, we've seen ex-bodyguards, affiliated alleged gang members. We've seen people go to jail representing the accused. Because, ladies and gentlemen, it's blowing my mind the level of non-commitment to the thug life I thought you was committed to. Oh yeah, I thought you was a gangster. I thought you were committing these crimes, ready to do your time. Because you are now finding out what I found out many moons ago. The streets don't love you. They care nothing about your life. And when you on that motherfucking stove in that frying pan, oh Lord, he gonna show you who you truly are. Now, to all you people that are on that stand today, tomorrow, or next week, including you, young thug, because you seem to almost have an out. Because the way that the psych ward is looking at these people on this stand might just work in your favor. But I want to tell everybody in the streets who are doing shit they not supposed to do to stop. Especially when you get you some money. And especially if your partner gets some money and can pay you, because guess what's going to happen when you honor the streets? You get nothing in return. That's As the World Turns with Kenny Burns, episode 100. Who are we? On all platforms. I love y'all in real life. Peace.
The dream is real.